Welcome to Aggressor Adventures. Meet owner and CEO Wayne Brown.
So I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, Baptist Hospital, which is still there today. And we grew up on the west side over at Edgewood, Cassett Avenues. Anybody that's from that area will know where that's at. Used to call it the west side, the best side. Very, very good blue collar area that I just had a great time growing up till I was about 8. We used to ride our bikes, all of them down the street, out in Cassett Avenue because it wasn't that busy at that time, and to the little store down the street, and had a great time with my friends. At 8 years old, we moved south, about an hour and a half, a little bit interior Florida, to a very rural farm area, which was great. We had animals, I mean, you name it. We had horses and pigs and cattle and chickens, and raised a farm, a garden. Our land backed up to about 8,000 acres of future logging land that was never logged the whole time I grew up there. So we had an 8,000 acre backyard that we played in every weekend. I mean, we were out there camping and hunting and fishing in the ponds back there and exploring. Just a great place to grow up. As I got older, we got bigger horses. We'd ride our horses back there on the weekends, and then of course graduated into dirt bikes and motorcycles, and we'd go back there and race on some of the old logging roads. And it was a great place to have a childhood.
Wayne describes his parents.
My parents both hardworking. My father was from West Virginia, very, very rural area we used to go back to that still had, one hand pump in the sink and an outhouse. My mother was from Virginia, where she actually quit school at 14 to work in a lace factory to help the factory out because her father had left. Both of them hardworking, a whole life. They met actually in D.C. My mother was working at a bank and my dad was driving a bus, and she would ride the bus to work. And they started dating and went to Jacksonville for the honeymoon and never left.
He shares what it was like growing up with siblings.
So I have two brothers. One's still alive. I call him every Sunday, and we just talk about how the week went and what's going on. He still lives down there in the rural area we grew up in. And, they're a little bit older, so he was 6 years older than I was. And my middle brother was 5, so they were very close, hung out a lot together. So I didn't ever hang out with him as far as, going out or anything like that, double dating, nothing like that. But obviously, we're around to fight between the three of us all the years growing up, and it was a great childhood.
Wayne has fond memories of his childhood pets.
So for pets, we've always had at least a dog. Even when we lived in Jacksonville when I was little, we had a border collie named Frisky that was like a member of the family. I mean, you could tell her just about anything to do. Go lay on the porch, go get in the bed. I mean, she would listen to you. Very smart dog. Out on the farm, we had several outside dogs. Every once in a while, a stray cat would come up, and we'd adopt it. And had a Heinz 57 breed dog named Gringo that was my childhood companion for most of my life till I was a young teenager.
He talks about his early education.
My early education started with me being a kindergarten dropout. So I went a couple days, didn't like it, I don't know, my mother, I don't remember a lot of it. My mother said that after 2 or 3 days she realized that it was just not going to be for me. I wasn't ready to go to school, so she just pulled me out of it. By the time I was in first grade, I loved it. I mean, we walked to school, so it was a block from the house. So all the neighborhood kids in our neighborhood would walk to school. We'd walk together and talk, and so it was great education. So when I was second grade is when we moved out to the more rural area. There was only 2 schools in the county. Pretty much split the county, so half the county went to one, which is where I lived. So we went with everybody from all the different farms and small neighborhoods in the area, and then actually went up to Orange Park, which is a city close to Jacksonville where I graduated from high school.
Wayne discusses his childhood dreams.
For whatever reason, I don't remember why, but the medical field was always kind of something I wanted to get into. So in high school, I was actually, I took health education, which was equivalent to 3 classes out of the 6 I had to take, both my junior and senior year in high school. We worked at local hospitals. We go to some of the senior communities and do everything from taking patients to x-ray from the emergency room to helping out in the nuclear lab to comforting seniors over at the community center that didn't have any family. And so that's how I ended up graduating high school and becoming a medic in the Air Force.
He had a special affinity in his youth that prepared him for where he is now.
So I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. So even when I was in that rural community where we might have had 10 or 12 farm families, when I was 12, I started selling shoes out of a catalog. I'd go to each farmhouse and try to sell them shoes, whether it's work boots or a dress shoe. And I would make, a couple orders a year. It was fine with me. And then because we kind of were 5 or 6 miles from the closest store, I talked my father into letting me use a refrigerator we had in the barn that wasn't used for much, to plug it in and put some drinks and sodas and water and candy bars in there and see if I could have a little store for the kids and adults in the neighborhood. And I was probably 14 when I tried that, and it was okay. I was happy to do it and learn about it and figure out budgets and profit margins. And then, when I was 15, I went to work at a local restaurant, local barbecue place in town.
Wayne shares how he became the owner of Aggressor Adventures.
What led me to ownership of Aggressor Adventures, in life, we all always make so many decisions that could take us down so many different paths. And so I think at our age, we're always at a wonder if we made the right decisions to get here. And so I've always had an affinity for high-end customer service, for top 5-star customer service, because I've known from an early age how hard it is to get to the point to deliver it, and how even harder it is to continue to deliver at that level. So I was a customer of several dive shops when we started diving. Day boats, started on them, went to a couple of liveaboards that were more like camping at sea, and we had a great time. But it's when I went on the Galapagos Aggressor in 2005, where you came back from the last dive and you sat down to a white tablecloth and they were serving wine, and I was like, okay, this is how you go scuba diving. And it was just such a well-run operation. The next year when I went back to the Belize Aggressor, same thing, just very high-end, great service. They love, all the crew loves what they do, love giving the highest level of customer service. And so I was inquiring with the captain about the ownership of the company, because I was really intrigued about how they managed to build such a great operation. And he had informed me that the owner had passed away a couple of years before, and the kids had it up for sale. And so 6 months later, I was the new owner of Aggressor.
Aggressor trips are not the only activities he and his wife do for fun.
So for fun outside of Aggressor, my wife and I love to take our motorhome on trips across the country. We explore a different part of it every year of North America. We just came back from New Mexico, where we're at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And we spent a week out there with our RV parked right under the field, with hundreds of balloons coming up over us every day. It's just an amazing experience. So we love doing that a couple times a year, going out and finding different parts of the country. We've spent 30 days in Texas alone, because it's like 3 different countries by itself. We've circled all 5 of the Great Lakes. We've been to the Rocky Mountains. We've been up to the Northeast, to Maine. We just love traveling in the motorhome a couple times a year and exploring North America.
Aggressor Adventures, for your adventure of a lifetime.